All right, we're live. Welcome. It's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today's the 5th of November, 2024. That's right, Election Day. All right, well, the news around here, anyway, was we finished up our 14th annual Homestead Hog Harvest Sunday. It started Friday, Saturday, Sunday class. 14th year that we've done it. Some years we do it twice. So we've done the class probably 20-something times. And this class went really good. It was a smaller class. We had a couple people that didn't show for it. Don't know why. We didn't get any notification from them. So it was a smaller class. It was all men. And they really were on it. They were really on it. They came ready to learn. And I just laid it out there for them. And things went really super, super smooth, just super smooth. So we finished up probably about 3 o'clock on Sunday, and everybody got home safe, and the class is wrapped up with a bow on it. And we're happy to have it behind us for the year, right? It's one of those things when you're going to do a class, you spend about 2 weeks preparing for it, really. You do little things every day to get things so they're going to be the way you want them on the class. All right. Intentionals with us. Welcome. And then you have like kind of high spirits the day before, and people start showing up, and you're getting to know them, and then you're going to kill a pig and then kill another pig, which is not a normal thing, really. We do it a lot here, but it's still kind of abnormal thing to do, and you're doing it with strangers, and there's a lot of room for things to go wrong. Nothing did go wrong this time, though. We actually had like zero problems. I had 2 good shots, and people followed directions really well. So it went really, really smooth. My team, the 2 younger boys, Rachel is the hostess, and Jill is, she is she's the explainer of things that are more in line with cooking. I am. I don't get involved with that too much. By that time, I'm kind of worn out. I'm kind of stepping back a little bit. And then you get to Sunday afternoon, and the class is over, and everybody's gone, and it's quiet. It's just quiet. Everybody's kind of tired, and so we just start cleaning up. And then the next day, what I'm going to do from this point on, I'm gonna deem the next day as recovery day. I don't want to call it a down day, where nobody does anything. I just want to call it a recovery day. So we're not necessarily resuming normal work. We still got to do the chores and everything, but give people a little room to do what they want to do and rest. A point of interest that was kind of neat was my youngest son, Frank, is really taking a hold of bow hunting lately. And he went out Sunday morning and skewered a really nice 6-point buck. Really nice one. Big body, nice big rack, but only points on it. And some of the guys that were here had not really seen that, so it was about the time they were rolling in, he was getting his deer back up here from the field and had it strung up and was starting to skin it. So that was an eye-opener for some of the guys. I thought it was kind of neat. Yeah, so it went well. And it's good to have that behind us. And then we knew that we were going to be cruising right into election season. And I think the day before yesterday and yesterday were more exciting than today. I'm not really seeing anything today yet. I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough for it. It's been raining here all day, so a lot of the things that we have to do here on a regular basis are just a little bit more complex. And so I've been working on the milk house, and I milked today with Frank, and had to run into Cadillac and get some few things that I needed. And here I am. And we made some observations during the class, and I wanted to pass them on to you. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about intentional homesteading, right? Talk about that. Um, the longer we stay in this, the longer we all continue in this, the more a part of us it becomes. And you get to a certain point where it doesn't seem like there's any turning back. And you say, would I want to? No, I don't want to turn back. And so you're all in. I want to talk about that. But I wanted to pass something on that a guy that was in the class, we had a medical doctor in the class. We had physician's assistant in the class. They didn't know each other. We had a Navy officer in the class, retired. And the other guy was a kind of a muckety muck at Kenworth, and had a whole bunch of work for him. Been there for a long, long time. So these weren't any slouches that we were dealing with. These were well-established people that were, for some reason, looking for something else, you know. And I was speaking with the medical doctor, and he was a very interesting guy. He had been a chef before, and he had gone through the Culinary Institute of America, CIA, and I guess it's quite prestigious. Not everybody makes it through, and he did that for a while. He was a chef for a little while, and then he went to medical school, right? But a real thinker. And we were, it was, I guess, it was dinner time on Saturday night, and people are kind of tired by then. Most of the work is done, and we're kind of relaxing a little bit. And he was talking more about the chef world than the medical world. And I said, so what is it with some of these guys that are the big name chefs? And I was being sincere, actually. I said, what is it about them that makes them like an Anthony Bourdain or Thomas Keller? There's big names in the chef world, and I hear about them. I've never met any of these people, but I do hear about them. And he says, well, no, I said, is it that they can just cut a carrot quicker than anybody else? Or what is it? I was just kind of a rhetorical question. And he said, well, no, 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 no. Anybody can cut a carrot. And he said, just like anybody can farm. He said, but these guys, when you go to their restaurant, and then he laid out all the things, all the all the neat things that you see when you go to their restaurant. And basically what he was saying was they are a good chef, but they have a good system too that they work. Like, you don't really hear of any chefs that are big name chefs that don't own their own restaurant or 2 or 3 restaurants. No, I never have. They're always running their own place primarily, and then they do their speaking and things like that on the side. And when he made that comment, it kind of went past me quick, and then there was other conversations. But that night when Jill and I were talking about the day, I said, did you catch that? And she was kind of, well, yeah, kind of. But what he was saying was that in the farming business, to make it to the next level, right? Make it to the next level. You can't do that exactly, at least according to what he was saying, by being super proficient at a post hole digger or super proficient at, butchering a chicken. It is more the system that makes the farm work, and you wouldn't really hear of a top-notch farmer that didn't have a farm. I don't think you would. And although in my last few years and having brushes with fame, I guess, in the farm world, not that I went looking for it, but I had brushes with it. It's like, that's not what I'm here for. That is really not my passion. But what my passion is, and I could identify it, is the system, the farming system. So yeah, you have to be good on a post hole digger. You got to know how to operate a post hole digger. And what I mean by that is you got to know how to do the basics. You got to know how to build fences. You got to know how to butcher animals. You got to know how to grow stuff. You got to know how to fix stuff. And you constantly have to be upping your game. You constantly have to be getting better at it, right? And a lot of times I say fortifying your position. You've got to get better at what you're doing all the time, because there's always something you can improve in a process that you do. Always, 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 always. I don't think you're ever going to get to the place where you just, oh no, it's as good as it can possibly be. I don't need to do anything else. No, you can always improve on it, and always be looking for the next facet. I almost said angle, right? But I don't want to say angle because that doesn't sound good. But always the next facet, the next, you know what I mean by facet? Let's say the next angle. Let's just say the next angle. But a facet would be if you had a shape. Let's say it had 4 sides to it. Each one of those sides would be a facet. So you're always looking for the next angle, the next thing. So you're doing a process like processing chickens, and you build a little bit of structure to keep the sun off of you when it's roasting and the rain off you when it's outside right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is coming down. And when I heard that, and the next day I asked him about it at mealtime, and I said, so what is it about Thomas Keller? That was the name that came up. And he runs an outfit out in California called the French Laundry, which Robert was telling me it's an 8-month waiting list to get in there. 8 months. 8 months to get a reservation to go to the French Laundry. Is the food that much better? Is the ambiance that much better? Is, what is the wait staff that much better? And he said, it's all of it. It's all of it. That guy is constantly tweaking his process to make it just a little bit better, just a little bit better, just a little bit better. And that, to me, that's what I want to do. I said, that's what I want to do. I want to make this process better and better and better. And I have a list of things that I've yet to accomplish. And I don't think there's an end to that list, I really don't. The beef operation, right now it's raining. I would really like to have a revetment down there that those cattle could be in if they wanted to. I don't think they would. But, my pond, I'm always expand the pond and get more species of fish in it and ducks on it and make it so it propagates and it becomes a source of food. And there are certain tenets of the things that I'm doing. They all have to be productive in the food security. You know, some is recreational, I would say, some of it, but even the things that we would call recreation around here, like motorcycles and deer hunting and fishing and playing games and all, it all works in that direction of sustainment of our family. It all works in that direction. So I thought that was an interesting point of view. And these guys obviously came here because they wanted to learn a skill, because they are branching off to another facet of their lifestyle. And I did a little bit of looking at their properties and, saying what I thought. And of course, I told them, oh, yeah, I do on-site consulting. And yeah, we had a good time of it. We the 2 pigs that we killed, we scalded and scraped one, and the other one we singed. And that's getting me something around here that people are liking quite a bit. I still like scalding and scraping better for me, but my boys like to singe better, and they've got a system that works really, really well. We'll have to talk about that one of these days. But tonight, what I wanted to talk about was I saw several people today. I saw 2 people that came in to get milk. I saw Aaron Esch came to get his milk and pick up bread. And then I went into town. I stopped by Spears Automotive. He's got a key for my new pickup truck. He wasn't there, but I was talking with his guys a little bit. Sat around for a little while and chewed the fat. And the overwhelming theme, and also on the internet, is the election. The election. And it seems to be 2 choices, right? And then after tonight, it'll be over, right? No, I don't think it will, because you still have a situation where people who go for this guy are this way, and they know who those people are, and those people feel the same way about these people. So we still have this divide. Whatever way it goes, we have a divide. And when I look at that, I say, wow, I sure am glad that I don't live in a neighborhood where half the people have one sign out or another. I sure am glad of that, because people are very intense about it right at this time. And I suppose I can be too. I want the candidate that I did not vote for today stands for everything that I think is unproductive and destructive to society. That's what I think. The other guy got to follow him up, but he's an astute businessman, and he's no joke when it comes to negotiating. So, you can guess which way I voted, but I have people that I know that voted the other way, and they feel very strongly about mostly abortion. They just feel very strongly about their right to snuff out an innocent life. I don't understand that. I really don't get that, why you're so intent on that. You'd think they'd want to not say it out loud, but they're pretty vocal about it. And I got to say that I find it hard to warm up to that. I just find it very difficult to warm up to that. And the immigration issue is becoming a problem. Even in this rural area, it's becoming a problem. But never mind the cities. It's a full-blown catastrophe. But at the end of the day, no matter what happens, whether they decide it tonight or a week or 2 weeks or a month from now, tomorrow we still have our cows that have to be milked. We still have a group of customers that are waiting on milk for their family. We still have the other animals to take care of. We still have to fix things that break. We still have to just carry on. If the election goes the way I think it ought to go, or the way I'd like it to go, I still got to do that. If it goes the other way, I still got to do that. So I think what I want to say again, I've said this before, that the homestead provides you, if you work it right and you are dedicated to it, which at this point I'm surely dedicated. I have no plans of getting that shrimping boat that I've been talking about and heading down to the Gulf Coast. I don't think I'm going to do that. I just don't. Because I like what I'm doing right here. I see a lot of good in it, and I heard a lot of good things come back at me this weekend from these men that we were instructing. And I know I'm in the right place for me at this time. And if things change, things change. But at this time, I have no plans of veering off of this course at all. And when I come in contact with people that are feeling the same way, they want to go this direction, I want to support that. And I want to say in this forum that I think it's a solid direction. And I've seen a lot of different ways that you can go in this life. I've seen lots of them. And this is the one that I picked. We didn't know for sure. And there was some tough times. There was some tough years. Believe me, there was some tough years. But where we are right now, we're in a good place, and we've just pedaled to the metal right now. Seizing the day, right? But your homestead provides a to that world out there. And what we saw this weekend in conversation was some of the things that guys were talking about, like maybe election things or things about their work. The guy that was here, that's the PA, went into detail about what he did as a pathologist, physician's assistant. And, you know, there was a lot to the story that you would say, well, that seems like a damn waste of time. That seems like you're bilking insurance companies. That seems not right. And he was like, yeah, but that's the way it is. You know, that's the way the system works. And the doc was saying, yeah, that's the way it is. And that, so that world out there, there's a lot of inconsistencies constantly. This election, tons of inconsistencies. Been with my guy, a lot of inconsistencies, and you just have to kind of swallow them. You just have to kind of, oh well, better than the other guy. You know, that's to me would be an inconsistency, that it's just doesn't seem to be black or white, right or wrong. It's just shades of stuff. Where in this world that we live in, there is right and wrong, and right is based on effectiveness. Does it work? Do we profit from it, or do we lose from it? Can we pull off this operation, or can we not pull it off? Are we not ready for it? Do we need to learn more about that process before we can actually pull it off and pull it off effectively? Those types of things. Those are questions that you ask, and it really comes down to, it's black and white. You know, no, we're not ready for that. We're not ready for that. And I can give you an example for us. When we process beef, our beef, and you know, we put a lot of it in our store. There are so many cuts to know on a beef, and I don't know them. You don't know them. And I need to know them. But for now, I know how to make hamburger, and I know where steaks come. That's all I know right now. So when we put things in the store, there's a limited amount of things that we know the correct, like hamburger, you know, we know that one. And it just works. A lot. People want a lot of hamburger. Grass-fed beef is outstanding. Even when it's burger, it's phenomenal. So we sell a lot of it. And for right now, I'm fine right there, right? It's working. It is effective. I don't know everything there is to know about it, but I still have time to learn it. And I'm pretty good at learning stuff if I get exposed to it. So I wish that this was a two-way conversation, because I would really love to get the input of some of the people that are on here. Let's see who is on here. Gabe's with us. Intention's with us. Ben Carlson's with us. How you doing, Ben? Long time. I would really like to get people's input on this, because I think that, you know, we've just barely scratched this this process. When we look around over the countryside, we see all these big red barns, and we kind of look at them like, well, it's a place you can put hay, store the boat when you're not using it. But those barns are a remnant of a system that fueled this country for a long time, for probably 200 years. If we've been going for 280 years now, and we've been in industrial agriculture for what, maybe 50 solid years. And a lot of the industrial ag buildings that have gone up have been taken down, and you wouldn't even know whether they were there. But the big red barns are still there, right? So it's a remnant of a system that somebody had created and operated it as a family for quite a long time. And we're just learning this now as we're rebuilding our barn to do the things that we want to do in it, like milking the cows and other things that we're doing there. And we kind of incorporated milking, beef production, because we're getting calves, and some of them are going to be bulls. And so that beef, once those bulls, when they're steered, and then they get to be around 2.5 years old, they have to be processed. So do we want to farm that out to someone else at great expense and no guarantees that the job is going to be done correctly, or we're even going to get our own beef back? The answer was no, after so many times sending animals out to slaughterhouses run by other people and getting poor performance. Not all the time, but just every now and then you just get a real kick in the guts. You know, an animal that you've nurtured for a couple years, and then they don't do a good job on it, you know, and there's really no recourse on it. What can you do? You know, you can just not use them anymore. So that was the decision that we made, to go that way. And we do the same thing with our milk. We don't put the milk on a truck and send it someplace for them to process it and then they send us a check. We bottle the milk, cool the milk, strain the milk, and deliver the milk somewhat. We do 2 drops into Cadillac with our milk, you know. So Jill's going in with a couple big coolers of milk, and then people are meeting her there and taking the milk. And it didn't start like that. It started, we had 1 cow, and we were milking her in the wrong place in the barn. Actually, we didn't have any place in the barn at all. We were just tying her to a fence post and milking her. And then I got a hold of a system to milk that was, I don't know how old it is. It's, but I put it together and played with it for quite a while until it actually started to work and actually milked the cow. So it took a while to get it to work. But the system gets better and better and better. And if you look at the system that we have now in this one little work area, I've got the milk house, I've got the milk parlor, we have the butchering operation right there in the same area, right there. It is separated, but it's very close. and it's a good work area, and I'm really tickled when I go down there and I see in operation. It's a pretty good thing, and the system has got to generate something. If it's a poor system and you're only generating half speed, then you need to bring it up to full speed. Now, you might not be able to do it instantaneously because it takes time, to get the materials, the money for the materials, and all that stuff. But you still can work in that direction. And as far as creating that buffer between you, your family, and the outside world, don't get the idea that I'm saying, put a drawbridge and guards on the tower and all that stuff. What I mean is, like, our place is wide open. People drive through all the time. But we do have refuge here too, like when I have to go into Cadillac like I did today, and I'm driving through. I was driving through to see if I could see any civil unrest with the Trump supporters, or the Kamala supporters, and I didn't see any. I saw a bunch of bums, and I saw a bunch of young men that looked useless, just sitting on benches and stuff, staring at phone. A lot of that. It was pretty sad. But I didn't see any civil unrest. But anyway, when I do go down and I'm heading back towards the farm, I know that I'm going someplace that as soon as I get there and shut the truck off, I'm home. I don't have to deal with that anymore. I don't have to. Whereas if I worked in town, you have to go there, and you have to work with people that are all caught up in that. As far as the storm, right? I talk about storms a lot. Storm on the horizon, prepping, right? We're preppers. I was a scout. The scout motto is be prepared. Yeah, okay, I guess I'm a prepper. And what it means to me is preparing for the next storm, right? Yesterday on the inside of the milk house, we haven't completed the new roof. It's not complete. Some of it is under the old roof that has lots of holes in it, lots of nail holes. And rain like this, the water runs through. So yesterday morning, I went and got some bowls of plastic, 10 foot wide, 25 feet long, 4 mils. And I started to staple that up on the inside, so when the water came through, it would just roll down to the eave. And it worked perfectly. It worked perfectly. Why did I tell you that? Oh, the storm. The storm. I was prepping because when I got up yesterday morning, it had started to rain. I looked at the forecast. It's going to rain the next 3 days. Well, that means all that water is going to be running down into the brand new milk house, and it drips on tools and my table saw, and the new floor or the new ceilings in there is the floor for the second story, and it's brand new OSB, and I don't want that getting soaked. So I needed to do something about it. So I prepared for the next 3 days, and if we don't get the roof done this winter, we might not, but if we don't, I'm going to be okay until next spring when we can do it. Actually, wintertime is a good time to change out a roof, though. So we probably will do it, sometime in January or something. But we're always preparing for the next storm that's coming. And because of my insulation, I want to tell you how this has affected me, this election, how it's affected me because of what I've said, how I want my life to be. I want an insulation between me and the outside world. And so by saying that and then working in that direction. Then when a storm comes up, like this election, it's a storm, all right. It's a storm. I was able to watch this whole election process with way less passion, way less, and push that passion over onto the homestead, over onto what I can control, what makes my family happy, the food system, the income system that we have. So I am passionate about what I'm doing here, my homestead, because it is a life, it's a lifestyle, but it is a living. We're making a living doing it. So I need to be passionate about it. The show that's going on in the world there with the election, the division between Americans, you know, these guys like this, these guys don't like this, these guys want to do this, these guys don't think you should do that. All that division, storm. That's a storm. And it's not going to get better when this election is decided. It won't. It's probably could get worse for a little. Could civil unrest, right? All them Trump supporters are going to go and start burning buildings, right? They might riot. Heck, I might riot. Then nobody would see me, but I might. But I have intentionally wished myself, I said, this is what I want for my life. I want to be more passionate about what I can control and less passionate about what I can't control. And I have explained it like this a couple of times. There was a guy that we did some consulting for, and he says, oh, there's this series that's on TV you would love. It is so good. He says, you got Netflix? And at the time we did have Netflix. We don't have it anymore. I don't know what we have now. And he says, it's called Yellowstone. It's got Kevin Costner in it. I said, oh, I like Kevin Costner. I saw him in Dances with Wolves. I watched it about 20 times. It's pretty good. Yeah, okay, I'll check it out. So me and Joe got home. Hey, let's check that out. So we tuned it in on the TV after we're gone to bed. 15 minutes. That was it. I thought it was way too dumb. That I believe TV shows must be believable. It's just they can't insult my experience on how life works, right? You can't, you know, and I don't want myself to be influenced by what I was seeing, you know, that's how you treat people. That's how you slap women around. That's how you brandish weapons and all that stuff. I don't want to watch that because it was too far out. But we do like to watch All Creatures Great and Small. And I think we've gone through that series 5 times. Really like it. Now, I don't think it's real. You know, it's a show on TV. It's a multi-part series. Maybe it's on it was created from a book that a guy wrote. Maybe nonfiction. I think it is nonfiction. James Herriot. But we don't discuss at the breakfast table, what do you think Tristan's going to do tonight? Oh, no, he won't do that. You know, we don't discuss it like that because we realize that it's a scripted show, you know, and whatever the script says, that's what's going to happen. And we can discuss it, you know, hey, when he did this, is that the way that you would treat that sickness we can discuss that, but we're not going to let that show dictate the way we do things here. We're not. It's not that kind of show. It's an entertainment type show. It's not a documentary. Maybe as a documentary series about homestead is not that was good and dealt with the realities of homesteading. Maybe. I mean, I haven't seen one. I've watched a couple that were kind of like reality shows, and there's always going to be drama and stuff, and they just don't get my interest. And I don't think don't get any ideas, anybody. That's not happening here, because that takes time to make that, to script that, and I don't have that time. My time is dedicated to what I'm doing here. This is important, right? For me, this is what I'm supposed to do, so that's what I'm going to do, right? We don't need to. There's not going to be any discussion about that. No one's trying to discuss me out of it. No one's trying to talk me out of it. Don't get the idea that somebody is, but yeah. So it's sort of the same with the election, right? Yeah. I mean, I've heard things like vote like your kids' lives depend on it, but I've heard that from both sides. Vote like your life depends on it. Elon Musk said that. Oh, Elon Musk said it. It must be true. I don't know. Does he even exist? How would I know? I don't know. So I've been able to watch this process, the election process, kind of participate. I went and voted this morning. Didn't really want to. Didn't feel like it was going to make a whole big difference, but okay. I can vote in this country, so I'm going to go vote. I voted straight ticket just because it was easier. And unfortunately, I didn't listen to directions because I was looking around too much at everybody and trying to get the read on the room. And instead of filling in the bubble, I just checked it. And then I checked a couple other ones on nonpartisan deals, and then I gave it to the lady, and she put it in the machine, and the machine took it. And I thought, ooh, I might not have done that right, but so be it. The machine took it, so got my vote in. But then when that was over, it was like, okay, got that out of the way. Now let's get home. We got things to do. And I had milk to bottle up, Frank milk this morning, and I bottle. And I had a couple other things that I wanted to do in preparation for all this rain, right? I had feeding to do, which, in the rain can kind of mucky. So I'm just telling you what happened. My instinct kicked in that this is what I'm passionate about. I'm not that passionate about that. Like, I suppose I could go and find a channel and I could watch the results coming in, and maybe see somebody get like a Rachel Maddow kind of lose her mind. That'd be fun. I'll watch the rerun. I think I'm going to go back down to the milk house and work on that because I'm trimming some windows down there and I was making some pretty good progress. So I think that's what I'll do because I am passionate about that, and I'm willing myself to be dispassionate about this because what can I control? I can do the vote. I can put a yard sign out. I could, but I didn't. I didn't have one, so I didn't put one out. I don't think I would have anyway. I don't know. I just, there's a guy down the road from me that's got a Harris sign out. Just like, but I'm sure he feels the same way about people that put a Trump sign out. So I don't want those feelings coming my way. And I don't think, does it do good? Does it help my candidate get elected if I have a sign out in front of my house? Does it? I will never forget that he had that Harris sign out in front of his house. And there's one other guy over here that I know. I will never forget that because when I saw it, I was like, what? You? But then when I thought about it, that kind of lines up with that guy now that I think about it. Yeah. Okay. Well, live and let live. We weren't real chums anyway, so it's not going to really make any difference. So that's my take on the homestead. If you do it right, there's always going to be another storm coming. This one will blow over. It will. And then there'll be the next storm, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But our homestead is a refuge, and we need to look at it as a refuge and then say, how can I make it more of a refuge for my family and myself? It's not going to be a total refuge. You know, it's not like you got walls around it and you never leave. That's not really the point. And I don't even think that would be healthy, honestly. But it is a place we can come back and we can be in relative voluntary isolation for a period of time. Not that I love my milk customers coming up. I love it. I love to talk to them. I really do. And they love to come here. And I believe it is a refuge for them as well. And that's driving for, right? Okay, that is my message for tonight. I think that came across okay. Does anybody have anything that they'd like me to comment on? I see we got a big crowd here tonight. You know, crowd side doesn't really matter. I've noticed that a lot of the commentators that have really gotten big in the last few months, they've gotten big because of the conflict involved in this election process. Oh, look at these guys, what jerks they are. And look at us. We're, you know, but as soon as this is over, their thing is kind of done. So during their rise to fame, it's been all about the conflict. And the conflict, I think, comes to a head, and then it is over. They'll have to start commentating on something else. But our homestead continues. And I think we should probably talk at some time about generational wealth and the homestead. Generational wealth and the homestead, because, you know, we're only here for a short time. We've got to get things prepared for the next generation that's going to come in and take over. We've got to get them trained. We've got to get the facilities up. And then we go on. And hopefully we have somebody to take our homesteads over. Hopefully. You know, I think that we might even be out of the homestead if there is a definition for homestead and small farm. I think we're probably just a general purpose small farm is what I'd say we are. And glad of it. Glad of it. So I'm real happy. I'm real satisfied with the way things are going. Oh, another thing that came up, and I did mention this to you guys, in the book 80 Acres, which is my, you know, the reference material that I'm reading right now. So usually whatever I'm reading is at the top of mind. And I told you guys this, I made a video about it too, is the parents, they would have been born in 1900 probably, and they took the farm over from their parents, one of their parents. And I don't know how much further it goes back from there. It's not really outlined in the book, but at least one generation before. So the parents, Martha and Jess was their name, last name Yeager, spelled with a J. And the kids, or the book was written by one of their kids. And I think he's passed now. I think Ron, I believe he's passed. And he was a 90-year guy. So even Ron, the kid that wrote the book, they were critical of their parents because their parents resisted getting a tractor. Resisted that. No, the horses are good enough. They resisted getting some of the new tools that a person could get to make farming better. No, Jess would say, this is good enough. This is fine. And what Jess and Martha worked towards was contentment. They were content, right? But being content doesn't just happen. You have to set the limit that horses are fine. I'm content with this. I am content with this. I'm fine with this. I recently had a situation happen like this to me. Well, you know, the thing that happened with our pilot engine blew up in it, and we had to, we had to get something else to drive. It's getting a new engine right now. They were doing it today when I was there. But in the short term, we needed something so we could continue the milk deliveries and everything else. John was loaning his car to us, but it's not quite right for what we were doing. And I didn't want to keep it for a month. We had it for going on 3 weeks, and that was about enough. So he had a pickup truck down there. It was a plain Jane Chevrolet single cab, 2-wheel drive. It was a service vehicle. It had been used for probably cell tower maintenance or something like that. It didn't have any greasy tools in it. So it was real clean and runs real good. 6-cylinder engine, nothing great. White, very plain looking. And that's what I wanted. Rubber floors. I didn't want any frills. I just wanted a farm pickup. And we got it. And so my other vehicle that I've been driving for probably I've had it for 20 years, is a 1966 Chevrolet C60. So it's a 2-ton pickup truck. It's a 2-ton truck. It's not a pickup truck. And it's got a dump box on the back of it, like a grain box. Not a dump truck, not like a dirt truck. It's a grain hauler, right? And so when I need to drive something, that's what I'm driving. Well, no frills. It doesn't have an air conditioner, I'll tell you that. It does have a heater, though, and the heater works pretty good. I had to drive it today. But it's got a few things that are not quite right. And actually, I found out that today. I was taking a load of bread over to John's house. And I got halfway there, and a guy flicked his lights at me. And I'm thinking, what, are my headlights not on? So I had to stop at a stop sign. I stopped. I got out. My headlights weren't working. I pulled the switch in and out. Headlights are out. And I know it's going to be dark by the time I'm coming home. I had to pull a UE right there, and I was over halfway there, way over halfway. I was almost to 55, and it's just maybe 2 miles more. But I thought by the time I get there and I dump and I'm coming back, it's going to be dark. And if I have no headlights, that's not going to be a good thing. So anyway, I had to come back. And so I have to fix the headlights on the truck. So, but what I'm saying is I was fine with that because I was content. I'm very content with my 2-ton. But after driving the new truck, oh, my phone, you get in it and you're listening to something, it switches over to the truck system and it's good. The truck is quiet. Like my 2-ton, if I want to listen to something like a podcast or something, earbud in, I have to have headsets on because it's loud. The truck is loud. And it's not because it's got a loud exhauster on it or anything. It's just, it's loud. The wheels are loud and the engine is loud. Everything. It's just an old truck that it has an AM radio and it doesn't really work anymore. Needs a new speaker, but I don't really need it. So anyway, but I was very content with the 2-ton, but now after driving the truck that I bought from John, oh boy, that thing is nice. Talk about refuge. Get in that. Oh, it's a little warm in here, honey. Oh, turn the cooler up a little bit. Turn the air conditioner on. Oh, whoa, that's nice. Power windows. Doesn't have power seats. I'm glad it doesn't have power seats. I like it to be. I would rather it has roll-up windows, to be honest with you. And no power locks. I hate power locks. I already locked it once. I already locked myself out of it once. So anyway, that's my okay. Intentional is asking which boy got the buck. Frank. Yep, Frank. Frank's the deer hunter. He is into it. Jim likes to go out, shoot a deer, and be done with it. Frank, it lives for the hunt. He lives for the hunt. Yep. And he says he's done until rifle season comes. But he did trade in his break open single shot rifle. He traded it in for a little bit more ponies, a little bit more horsepower. And he had the money to do it, so I was fine with it. All right. If that's it, I guess we'll get going. We do not have a consulting call tomorrow night. We do not. I probably am going to need to make a phone call to Intentional Homesteading because I need an update on the new farm. I need to know what's going on there. Let's see. Is there anything else that I need to report? No, I think that's it. Okay, remember, anyone can farm.